Welcome back to the ranking of Naruto games! The show where we finish every Naruto game that came out in the West and rank them from best to worst. For years I wondered why Bandai Namco was the current holder of the Naruto license. Their competitors Tommy weren't putting out bad games at all. The Clash of Ninja series was fantastic, culminating in Clash Revolution 3, which was arguably the best. So how did Tomy end up losing the license, or why did they give it up? I always thought it was a matter of popularity. Tomy was putting out games on the Nintendo consoles, where Bandai Namco was putting out games on the PlayStation, where they were a lot more popular. And also the CyberConnect 2 games, the Bandai Namco games, paid a lot more attention to fan service, giving you a ton of characters, which ultimately is what makes those games more popular. But today I learned that Tomy really were the kings of cash grabs. Oh my god. These were not even the last Naruto games that Tomy has ever made, but these may very well be the last straw that led them to losing the Naruto license. So sit back and enjoy this ranking episode, because I sure suffered through these games. We're gonna talk about some bad Naruto games. Again, Naruto Shippuden Naruto vs Sasuke. If you've watched previous ranking episodes, then this game probably looks familiar. Yup, it's another Ninja Council game. A series so bad that it's the only one with F-rank games in our current ranking, and the games that aren't F-rank aren't that much better. And it seems like Tomy knew this, so they completely dropped the Ninja Council name from their games from here on out, even though they're still very much Ninja Council games. And this is the 6th Ninja Council game they've made, and once again, no major improvements over the last game. It's a level-based side-scroller. It keeps some of the quality of life changes brought to you by the last titles, like running attacks dealing more damage, which makes running through these levels a little less painful. But somehow they made the level design worse. You still have the typical levels where you just run to the right and defeat enemies, but whenever they decide to get a bit more creative, it just sucks. It's missions where you have to press buttons to open doors, but then you have to backtrack a bunch. They ask you to do some precision platforming where their controls are and have always been garbage. This is immediately a big step down. The big new thing is that you can now switch characters in the middle of the mission. You can just swap between your party of 3, changing the active character. And they do have a little fan service there because some characters can do combo jutsu. Then again, not many do, so it really is just a little bit of fan service. You'll still have doors or obstacles that are locked and only certain characters can open them depending on their abilities, which means that if you don't bring the right character to a certain mission, you might not be able to get all the collectibles on your first run. Collectibles are important because they unlock new characters, which can be support only or playable characters. And that helps diversify the gameplay a little bit, but not that much because they don't play that differently from one another. Ninja Council 2 European version still is the one that did character uniqueness the best, where each character really played differently. In this one, they do have different movement speeds, jump heights, and unique jutsu, but it's not that drastic of a difference anymore. The game retells the story of the Sasuke rescue arc, and like every game from this era, once you finish it, you unlock Sasuke, who is Omega Busted. Just moves faster, jumps higher, has armored jutsu, deals more damage, you know, the usual. And it wouldn't be a Ninja Council game without an absolute gem in the soundtrack. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the music that plays in the main menu. Now, to be fair, I did enjoy most of the tracks in this game. The soundtrack wasn't bad at all, but it always needs to have that one track that is just like, what were they thinking? Anyway, this is the 6th Ninja Council game, and it still feels like they've been recycling enemies from other games. You're still fighting wolves and birds throughout the levels. When you reach Orochimaru's hideout, you have a boss fight against fucking lobsters. Lobsters, dude. You could have done so much with Orochimaru's hideout, but lobsters. Look, I don't want to downplay this too much, so let's recognize what it does well. Being able to switch characters is cool. It allows you to manage your health between your members, and sometimes use unique abilities to skip some parts of the level. There are some unique story mode characters, like when Naruto awakens his Nine-Tails chakra and fights against Orochimaru in a boss fight that's pretty much the same as all other boss fights against ninja characters. After playing through a level that's not that different from anything they've done in the past 6 games, and somewhat when they do become different, they are worse than ever before and so annoying to complete. And then they make you repeat some of them to unlock new characters. Nope, it's a bad game. E rank, let's put it above Ninja Destiny 2 though. In reality, this game is not that different from Ninja Council 4, which is a full rank above, but I really do feel like the level design in this one is a lot worse. And I also think it's fair to be exhausted of this formula when they have been doing the same thing for 6 games now. 6 very bad games. Let's move on to something that's a bit better, hopefully. It is the much anticipated Dragon Blade Chronicles. We'll be right back. Did you know that I streamed this whole game on Twitch? Since I finished the games before I ranked them, I figured, hey, why not stream a couple of them? And I actually stream every weekday on twitch.tv/globku. Go ahead and give me a follow if you'd like to catch the next Naruto game. Naruto Shippuden Dragon Blade Chronicles. I've been reading people's reactions from back in 2009 when the game first came out. It was universally hated. This game is the definition of a cash grab, and I completely agree, but also I found it pretty entertaining. There are two types of bad games for me. The ones that are just boring or frustrating. It's just an overall bad time. And then we have the games that are so bad that they actually make you laugh and end up being pretty entertaining. Like, what's this animation, Naruto? Wait, guys, Rock Lee's coming in. Look at his leaf hurricane. Dragon Blade Chronicles is a 3D action-adventure game, which is not very common in Naruto games. It feels like Tommy looked at the success of Free Roaming in Storm, Broken Bond, Rise of a Ninja and said, we need one of them 3D action games and it should come out next year. But sir, that's not enough time to make a full game. Do we have any action games in production? Well, we have Slay the Dragon of the Mythic Mountain, which is almost ready, sir. Perfect. Scrap that and make that a Naruto game. Now, I don't know if that actually happened, but it would explain a lot. Like, why Naruto mainly fights with a weapon, why he fights these enemies the entire game, why there's a scroll system for equipping jutsu, which includes stuff that he knows, like the Rasengan, and stuff that he never learned, like fireballs. In fact, maybe it's because they had to fit Naruto into this whole different game with its pre-built systems that they came up with the story of a girl that goes to the Leaf Village to ask for help because her brother is making dragons evil to wipe out the world or something. But these dragons are in a mountain where you can't use chakra unless you wear these awesome dragon outfits. And thanks to these dragon outfits, they can now use chakra again and equip scrolls and do everything the previous game had planned. Genius. The reason for giving characters these outfits is silly. They could have just, you know, let them use chakra in the mountain. I mean, they end up doing it anyway. But I'll say these outfits, they look really cool. Even the Akatsuki wears them. They're great redesigns and probably the best thing to come out of this game. The game structure is pretty straightforward. You go through a level with some combat and some platforming. If you fall down a pit, it's game over, which with these controls, yikes. It's a fixed camera, which is sometimes not ideal for these platforming sections, but at the end of each level, you have a dragon to defeat, after which you swap to Sasuke, who goes through roughly the same level, and it repeats until you get to the final dragon boss, and also fight this kid's brother, whose name is Kuroma. That's kind of unfortunate. At this time, no one knew the real name of the Ninetales, which is Kurama, and these guys got so close to it that this entire story almost made no sense. The combat is fun. There are a few options, especially once you unlock the ability to combo into jutsu, so you can get a bit more experimental. But there's also no reason to fight most of the time, since there's no experience or level up system. You're just encouraged to explore, to find chests with new jutsu or health upgrades, but you can skip most enemies without having to worry about it too much. It's got some good progression. You gain combos and new jutsu at a decent rate. I can't say this game ever got boring, even if some enemies are kind of frustrating to fight. Everything that made me jump to attack was so infuriating. The fixed camera doesn't help. It's hard to tell how close an enemy is sometimes, and your air options are so limited, and these freaking beams are everywhere. Even though they die in one hit, it is so annoying to fight them. The boss fights are cool though. Both all the dragons and the Akatsuki members provide unique boss fight moments. You even have a fight against the nine-tailed Fantafox. But I do wish these bosses had health bars. Sometimes it's hard to tell how close you are to killing them. But at least the fights are fun. And even during the levels, they have some fun mechanics, like using water to solidify lava, creating a platform that you can stand on. And the whole story is voice acted. The soundtrack is also really good. Look at Sakura dancing to it. She loves it. So overall, it doesn't sound like a game that deserved all the hate it got back then, until you discover that it was a full-priced game and that it's 5 hours long with no replay value. And even though it was just 5 hours, some areas are just broken. You have severe frame drops whenever there are too many enemies on screen, and some segments where the terrain is falling down just run like absolute garbage. Even the level design was flawed. For instance, close to the start, you have this blue wall, and you cannot break this wall until you defeat the first boss, which is the water dragon. Makes sense. Water dragon, blue wall. Okay, let's get the thing from the water dragon to break the blue wall. Problem is, once you defeat the water dragon, there's no way to return here. This is not a free roaming open world sandbox. Once you're done with level 1, you're going to level 2, and that's it. So that wall is locked forever. I will say, even though this was definitely a cash grab, the game's different levels, unique boss fights, and okay gameplay made it at least entertaining. And I would be angry too if I paid full price for a 5-hour game that felt recycled and ran terribly at times, but I think overall, I was pretty entertained by the whole thing. So I have a really hard time calling this a bad game, especially looking at some of the other bad games here on this list. But you know what? Honestly, I would rather play this again than Uzumaki Chronicles 2. And Uzumaki Chronicles 2 had a lot more content, and I mean hours and hours, but it never felt as tailored or unique as this one. Plus, those dragon outfits look cool. We're gonna smack it right there at the top of D tier, even if it did in fact feel like this game was something else entirely before it became a Naruto game. Tomy isn't done making games, but all that's left for me to rank them is 2 more Ninja Council games. I guess I'll play one of those for next episode, but there's still some exciting stuff to see. There's Kizuna Drive, Ultimate Ninja Impact, Ultimate Ninja Heroes 3, which was basically a sequel to Ultimate Ninja 5, and of course Shinobi Striker. So which one would you like me to rank next? Let me know in the comments down below, and don't forget to follow me on Twitch. I stream every weekday, and I'm definitely gonna be playing one of these games next, live on stream. And as always, thank you very much for watching. My name is Globku, and I'll see you next time. Bye!